Welcome to the Sonoma County Library Commission meeting, May. Thank you. I will call the roll. Commissioner Cahill.
Here.
Commissioner is absent. Commissioner Engelhardt is absent. Commissioner Heavenridge.
Here.
Excellent. Commissioner Goldberg.
Here.
Commissioner Green.
Here.
Commissioner Hauser. Here. Commissioner Lagos. Here. Commissioner McKenzie.
Here.
All right. Any announcements? See no announcements? No, of course, I have to announce it, actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to use the privilege of the chair to rearrange the item order a little bit. And so we are going to move 12 and 13, that's the closed session and the report, up to after 4, so they will be 5 and 6. And then we are also going to move the report from the foundation, which is 8 after those two. And so that will be item 7. We're just going to try to get people done before some of the other business of the commission. I'm sorry. That's my hearing here. Any objections about? No, that's it. All right, public appearance.
Well, I just want to make the announcement that Senator Bill Dodd joined us at the Chamber of Commerce today, and then came over to the library. We had a very nice tour. He was relatively dazzled by the Roanoke Park Kentucky Library, I would say, and loved the bookstore and went in and bought one book. So I had this dollar exchange between the and wish he could have spent more time there. So he loved it, but he loved the whole library. Really appreciate Barbara Mays and Jennifer Ryder's commentary as we went along. We took them the whole library and the outside and everything. So
Did we get photos?
got photos.
Yay.
I only had time to do it.
Excellent.
I haven't done the whole thing yet.
I think probably Senator Dodd would like those photos as well. And he has been, for most people know, but Senator Dodd has been a library supporter for many, many years. And he let us know at the chamber that he only has 2 more years. So perhaps we should honor Senator Dodd in the commission meeting. Okay. I'm sure it's very comfortable, but we want to. Any other announcements? Okay. Then our item number 4, presentation. Let's talk about the website.
I'm going to ask IT Manager Mike Dodd.
Did I say public hearings? I'm sorry.
There were no public comments received via email or by U.S. Postal Service mail, and there are no members of the public. Correct, Toronto?
Ask if there's anybody in your card.
And no
Anyone
members of
here
the
in
public.
person that has a. Okay. Thank you. All right, moving on to 4, presentations.
Bear with me for just a moment while I pivot, which is what we've done in one of the topics that I'll be discussing. I was expecting, after the closed session, I apologize for that. So what I'll be doing tonight is I really want to talk not only about the public website that we're going to have, but to talk about where we're coming from.
And do speak into the microphone so that some of us can hear.
Yes, I apologize for my faux pas. That I was expecting the closed session was going to be before the presentation, so the computer isn't hooked up to the internet, so I'll be ad-libbing until I get my presentation on screen. For just a moment, I apologize.
Do we want to switch that? Which is more convenient?
I'm at your convenience.
All right, well, if you're already reset up, then.
joys of technology. We have our foundation. Do the foundation report
Would it
first.
be helpful if we could do the foundation report, to give you a little bit more time?
Yes.
Okay, all right, perfect.
She's trying to, the foundation report's gonna come in on.
All right, then we're going to do it. Chris, are you?
She's on.
There she is. She's going.
Yes, right, there she is. There she is.
Good evening.
Can we persuade you to talk now, Chris?
Oh, I'll talk anytime you ask me to. Talking is not a problem. So realizing the meeting was in person is, and I apologize that I'm on Zoom. So my mistake, but everybody's been generous to get me into this meeting. So thank you so much. So good evening. Sarah has asked me to give the foundation report for her. And first, I'd just like to summarize the report for our March activity that is in your packet. Our efforts in March we were quite busy in March, actually. We focused on fundraising strategies, and we talked specifically about meeting our goal by June 30th. And we were taking steps to strengthen our structure during that time. In March, we met to design our first planning retreat, and we subsequently held that on April 8th. Our session focused on formalizing our committee structure to make them more productive, efforts to become more self-resilient, and strategies board members can use to strengthen our own fundraising efforts. Our development committee is led by Pat Kuda as chair and Judy Glenn as member. Periodically, members from the community are also invited to participate. With Fund Development Manager Craig Palmer, that committee now meets weekly to move forward our high-value prospects. Most immediately, we're working with Susan Moore, who's approaching at least one high-value donor for us and giving counsel on how to approach 2 others. Additionally, with Susan Moore's collaboration, we're approaching a prominent philanthropist in the county to hold a larger house party, specifically as a fundraiser. Greg Sayers has offered to give a reading from his new book at that event for us. In March, we continued working on our top priority to set dates for house parties. I mean, who doesn't want to be on a committee that gets to plan house parties? So people have been having a lot of fun. We had one hosted by Vicki Berninga on April 18th. With Erica's inspiring presentations, these house parties have become quite popular, no surprise. Vicki's house party has already generated 3 donations and several offers from those guests to host house parties themselves. Dates are being set, and the presentation to the forum and the Katati Rotary Club. And just in passing, may I say, from the launch of our campaign, you all have been most generous and supportive of these efforts. And I want you to know that really makes a difference. It inspires us, and it is great to go in the community and be able to speak to that. We know that a few of you have even asked about setting up some of your own house parties or attending parties that we hold in your area. These parties are fun, easy to do, because we make it so. We'll help you in every way, and very rewarding. So please get in touch if you would like to host one, if you'd like to know more about one, we can help. I want to also share tonight a bit of news about a transition. Our longtime, amazing, eternally optimistic President Sarah Ortiz has announced that she has now served 6 terms and it's time for her to step down as president. Or as she mentioned to me, being a new mom is taking more of her time than she expected. So Sarah's last meeting will be in June. Her contribution to our foundation and to the library has truly been extraordinary. And she has brought our foundation through some very tough times and then led us in reorganizing. And she has been a huge part of our campaign for Roseland and very vocal about the importance of that. There'll be a party in her honor, and we will soon have more information on that party. You will, of course, be invited to attend. There's lots of partying going on at the foundation, if you can't tell. House parties today. As for succession, we already had discussed that at our planning retreat in April. Our nominating committee will propose a slate of officers to be presented in May, and the board will vote on that slate in June. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you so much, Chris. Any comments?
They work really hard.
Yes, it is very rewarding to have good work to do, though, let me say.
Is Sarah stepping down from the presidency or just from, or the board in total?
Both right now. Was that you, Barbara?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was going off as president anyway, but she has decided that she just needs to take a break in general right now and sort of restructure their lives and then see what she can add back in.
Anybody else, questions? You all have been so busy. Thank you so much, Chris. We really
Oh,
appreciate it.
you're welcome. Our delight, truly. Thank you.
I'm sure we will thank her before and during the party.
Great. Yes.
But we appreciate your coming in to make the report.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And if there's anything we can do, and I'm sure there are going to be some volunteer party givers.
Yes.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you so much. We look forward to it.
Public comment?
I had a hard time hearing.
No. We'll get it.
Is that at her end or at our end?
It was on her end.
That's what I thought. It's her end. Ours was turned up to 100%.
But I think if we listen to that section or if we get it written down, we will probably be able to hear it better if we listen to our own commission meeting. All right, let's see. Now, on to the presentation. Presentation and then closed session. You can give me a screen share, please, Ron. Right, screen share. You should get. There. Okay. I apologize for the delays. And I will indeed speak into the mic. Technology. It goes both ways. That's why I like it. So good evening, I'm Mike Guy. I'm the IT manager for the library. That's what I do, is work with technology, and it's my pleasure this evening, to speak with you tonight to give you a little history of web development at the library, culminating in a short demo of our new website. Today we live in a digital world full of digital natives. Many young people don't understand the reference to rabbit ears. Many have never seen a dial phone. At this point, most things are digital, and that's very important for the library because the internet has become an integral part of our lives. For the library, our website is a focal point in our public face online. And to complicate things, the internet means so many different things to different people. Everybody on the screen, the internet's a different device, a different reality, a different place for them to be. And that's important because we serve them all. And we've been doing it for a long time. So I've been here a little over 20 years. We had a website when I came here, and this is the website that we had in 2014. In technology terms, that's ancient history. So at that point, it was a much smaller website. Structurally, we didn't change it very often. We kept the content up to date. And it was done by one person,
by hand. It was a very laborious process. 2014, we formed our first collective staff team called the Digital Branch to re-envision what it was to be online for the library. You might see cues here of the website that we have today. That team was charged with finding a hosted platform to put our library's website into a content management system, a CMS, in which they could distribute content amongst the team so that one person was no longer doing the site, because it was growing, it was changing faster. We chose Cherry Hill, and we were with them for a number of years. And again, you can see cues from today. Moreover, in 2017, we had incremental changes to the website. The site was changing more rapidly. The content, but the structure was similar. Again, you can see what we have today. From 2014 to 2017, you'll notice that the library logo image and the font has changed, but overall, it's predominantly the same. During this time, Rana, he was administering the website in conjunction with the digital team. He helped keep it running smoothly. And that was only one of the things he did. It was still a very busy time. And as things do, they progress, and we're planning ahead. In 2019, we hired our web programmer, analyst, and Drupal expert, Edie Dawson. That was the first part of really re-envisioning the next generation website for the library system. As an aside, Edie's arrival allowed Mono to focus on other important things that we have at the library, including our public website, our mobile app, Zoom, our online events calendar, and many other things, including what he does here tonight. Over the course of the first 6 months Edie was here, she landed running. She found a new hosting platform for our site. She rebuilt the current website on Pantheon as the name of the site, and in order for us to get to a place where we could start laying groundwork for what was next. She also formed a new team, the web development team, and they were off to a good start. Then the pandemic struck, and everything changed on March 14th, 2020. It's the first time we really started thinking about the word pivot, at least myself, and that's what we did. Website development was put on the back burner, and we had to focus for how we were going to continue to provide library services to our communities who were sheltering in place. No longer were they going to come through our doors. They had to create what was labeled the library at home, getting all of our resources available to those that couldn't come to our library. And staff at all levels jumped to task to make that happen. Curating content, creating content for our online users so they could still participate in the library. And they did a great job, and it was a quite stressful time for us all. And as we returned to the new next, we were able to reconvene that website development team and start planning again for what we wanted for the next generation website. We want a modern architecture. Of course, we want it to be fully bilingual in Spanish for our communities. We want it accessible and mobile first in design because our users are coming from many different places with different needs, and we're doing as much as we can to serve all of them. Moreover, we want it to be dynamic and inviting. Now that work is finally coming to fruition, and oh, the amount of work that it's been a lot. This is the face of our new public website, in both the mobile-friendly view for those people that use phones on a daily basis for their primary internet access, and for those that use a desktop interface. It's completely new on a modern architecture. I can't stress enough, it's fully bilingual in Spanish. It's designed around pleasant imagery, pleasant colors, large icons, and other assets that really make it inviting and engaging for those to explore and interact with our resources. And with that, I want to spend just a moment and jump in and show you what it's going to be. Jumps over with me. Greg is the website. Greg is indeed the website. And here it is in all its glory. It goes live tomorrow. It's going to be put up in a preview mode for a public. You're the first ones to see it publicly. You notice right off the top, this is one mouse works. We have our library logo. We have our locations page, my account, get a library card, e-library, ask, as well as we can search the catalog website and the events calendar right from here. Off to the side, which is not present on screen because of the Zoom event, is the ability to toggle between English and Spanish whenever you might want to change that icon. Oh, thank you, Ron, right here. Right below is a hero image that we'll use to highlight current and high-profile resources and events. It's going to be rotated on a regular basis. We have our Experience the Library below, which are our highlighted areas. For browsing, and again, exploring and engaging with the website. We have our home slides, a carousel of new and noteworthy material coming into our library for you to find and check out. We have our news posts, such as our new library director, the Petaluma History Room, and our commission meeting section, as well as all the other information about the library that we've had and continue to have at the bottom of the page, including all of our financial reports, which I know come up on occasion. Scrolling back up to the top, our e-library section is the evolution of that library at home. It's all about what you can do with the library when you're not in our walls. Libraries have really changed in how we deliver services. At one point, a library was all about coming to them, going to the library, going in the doors, checking out a book. Now it's about how we can provide library resources to wherever you all are. You're not constricted to our walls. We're providing services in whatever fashion or place that you need them. So on this page, we have access to a few high-level, prominent resources, new resources that we want to promote. We can browse through the sections of resources that we provide. And we can also directly get to this through our menu system. For those that don't know, it's called a hamburger menu because it's layered. It's kind of a silly little thing. But this allows that same kind of functionality with a little bit of buffering for the screen. So we can do the same thing with browsing. We can go through the sections directly, or we can use the menu items at the right to browse down through the resources that we have, all the way down to the resource that we want. And in this case, BookFlix. BookFlix is a nice resource for our younger users with ebooks, e-audiobooks, puzzles, games, age-appropriate materials. Each of our resources has a page similar to this, so you can learn more about the resource, its audience, whomever might want to use it, and then you can jump right into it. Moreover, you can also go to the A to Z resources page and engage with our resources this way, with the list of all of our resources and a very small description, in which case, ultimately, we can get to the same place we started to go to. The great thing about a library website is it's no longer static. In 2000, 2003 to 2014, websites were static. It was all about words on a page and providing information. Websites in current times are about engagement, how we can bring people in to explore and continue to develop things as users change and themselves develop. So right now we have our website, we'll call it version 1. We will certainly will be seeing version 1.1, version 1.2, version 1.3 into the near future. Starting tomorrow, the public will get to see it as well. With that, I'd like to say thank you for my bumbling this evening and invite you all to ask any questions you might have. Barbara.
Yes, on Bookflix, if you let go, what happens?
You go to the resource.
I can hit start. In the past, a lot of times, you had to download a different app, and everything wasn't linked to our website. That's just why I'm curious what that looks like. So that's actually
Yes.
the program there.
And you probably can't hear, but it's actually playing the audio from one of the audiobooks on my computer.
And then if you hit Canopy, can you go on Canopy from here, or do you have to again download the Canopy app?
No, you can go directly from the website.
So is there anything that we have as an e-resource that you can't get directly from our website?
The mobile app, in which case you download the mobile app and you have so many new avenues to similar resources we provide.
Okay, great. Well, that's a big change. I mean,
It's a huge change, and it's been an extraordinary amount of work, and the people that have been working on it, which is many, should be applauded for their efforts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And will the mobile apps automatically update as well as the website?
Well, with the website being both desktop and mobile friendly, it will always stay up to date. It's just a facet of its display. With mobile apps, generally speaking, they will prompt you to upload or update them. On occasion with the mobile app, whatever you might have on your phone, you'll need to update them, and you can go into the Apple Store or the Android Play Store and update them from there as well.
I want to say I was probably the earliest adopter of the dial-up catalog when we all got modems, and I was thrilled whatever year that was, whatever century that was, that I could reserve books. And so it's just incredible to see the evolution.
It is, thank you.
Does anybody else have a question before Barbara goes?
I just want to say a comment, I think it's beautiful. I mean, I think it's so, I played around while you were walking through, but just the menu and just the way it looks, it's so modern and appealing and user-friendly, and it's a stunning website. So
Awesome. Edie Dawson is our web programmer analyst. I'll make sure she knows that. I'm assuming she's probably watching right now. And also, it's a team effort. So Edie, the marketing team, staff from around the county, many people have contributed and continue to contribute to its content.
Just back to your slide, refocus for next gen. Does that specifically mean these things only, or is there more to next gen than the architecture, the bilingual?
Those are, without going back to the slides, those are features that I wanted to focus upon. Getting further into the weeds, we're going to a Drupal 9 architecture, which is a current version of the Drupal content management system. There's the different modules that are still up to date. But the things that I really wanted to highlight tonight are the things that we focus on in public services: the bilingual, ADA accessibility, access to multiple versions for whether you're on desktop or mobile, things that we want to present to our public.
The much more modern version.
Oh, absolutely.
And what does ADA accessibility mean? How does that?
ADA accessibility is geared towards whether you're using a screen magnifier or a screen reader software, so that the website is laid out in a fashion that the software is going to be able to understand and help you navigate through it.
If a person doesn't download the mobile app, but just accesses the website on their phone, but not through the mobile app, just click on library, will it look different? Will it function differently?
It'll function as the website. The app is an interface unto itself that is separate. It's got added functionality. Ronald's actually the person that manages it. I won't put him on the spot right now. But there's certain things that the app is built to do that the website does slightly different. How it accesses e-resources or accesses the events and programs that are happening at the libraries. All the information is the same, it's just presented slightly differently. In either case, you're going to find the information you need to interact with the library.
I've got a couple questions. How did you get patron feelings, thoughts? How did you get their ideas about what they wanted in a new website?
We've had 2 to 3 separate surveys that have gone out. Ray Hawley has helped with that. We've also had public service staff that work with the public on a daily basis that have over time heard what they need. We've also taken cues from the reimagining plan as far as what the focus of the organization is. And starting tomorrow, I'm sure we're going to get more feedback from the public, which in turn will help evolve the interfaces that we use.
So if someone does have a comment, is there an easy way for them on the website to say or do they just ask a librarian?
Ask a librarian. There's the comment forms that are on the general website. Once it's been out for a little bit, it's a bit of a soft launch because we don't want to shock people. We want to preview it and have a transitionary time. Once it's been out in this mode for a bit, we're going to be doing another survey of engagement for people to solicit their feedback from.
And then, because the website has been around for a long time, there's lots of history. Are you saving some of that history and putting it aside? Is it hidden someplace on the new website, or have you archived it?
The Internet Archive, where I got these slides today, it's the Wayback Machine. That's what I use to put together the slides. So we follow our records retention policy, which will be coming to the commission in the coming months, and that'll help define how we keep it. We also have the archives and the history and genealogy librarians that help categorize and catalog information.
And my final question is, in terms of the calendar, is there a different way that you're using the calendar, or personally, I've always found the calendar difficult to use. Are you using, is it the same?
It is the same interface. Library Market is the interface that we use. It's integrating in a slightly different frame of the website, but it is the same catalog. I mean, the calendar. I'd love to get your feedback if you wanted to contact us. Rano is actually the person that administrates the catalog or the calendar as well, so you're in good hands and we can look into any.
Sorry, I'm going into the weeds. Apologies.
No, that's what I'm here for.
Speak again. Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.
And you all are really to be commended for all the work. Thank you. All right, any public comments? Okay, then we are going to move into closed session.
We are moving next, are we not?
Conceptually, we're moving into closed session.
No,
We're going to stay
we
here.
will be moving to the boardroom for this
Oh.
closed session. We'll be taking Paul. You'll be joining a breakout room on the conference phone for audio.
Okay.
And I think Jaylene's already in there to help along the process.
So Paul will be with you in a minute.
Yes, both be in.
Okay, don't,
Yes.
don't.
We will bring up the king's house. We're gonna have a
We'll do our best.
Talk away, it will take me forever.
I was talking.
There she is.
That's why I enjoyed it.
It's fascinating.
All the old screenshots.
That's a special one, that's a screenshot, like, that's it, you get it, it's like, that's it, until you go up to the internet.
So
Great.
We're gonna reconvene in session. No action to report on our closed session. And now we are going to move into library reports.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me? Okay. So I just have a few things that I want to add to my report for this month. I want to let you know about our deputy director recruitment. It was unsuccessful. So we are going to re-recruit and we're going to actually work with the recruiter, one of the recruiters who submitted an RFP for the director search. It will be, we are going with a less expensive option for the recruitment, but we are going to be meeting with representatives of that firm next week to talk about what we're looking for, and we're hoping that this will be a more successful recruitment. But I have good news, and that is our teen summer lunch interns. We received 130 applications. So we have 14 positions. Our staff will have their work cut out for them, selecting and interviewing all of those teens. So we're also going to be recruiting a extra help librarian to help with the outreach for that. So that's very exciting. Is there any questions about the report?
Yes, I have 4 small questions I can talk. The first one, under collections, I noticed that we're going to relocate the video games behind the service desk. Have we been having problems? Is that why we're doing that?
Yes, some branches have experienced significant theft because the video games are quite small and the cases are not, they're not locked. So essentially people are able to just remove the game directly from the case. And we did extensive, we got some feedback from the circulation services team as well as branch staff and branch managers. And this was our collective decision.
So they have to go to the desk to get them. Is there any checkout follow-up, or is it just going to have more oversight from the front end?
Well, I think it'll work differently at different branches. Like some branches will have a cart that the games will be on the cart and they just have to roll them out. Some branches are already putting them behind the desk, so it won't be a change for some of those locations.
And thank you for that. For number 2, under facilities, I noticed that they received 262 work orders and were able to complete 107. Again, I don't know how those numbers change, but do we have a capacity issue with all these work orders?
I'm going to defer to Dave on that.
Last month, or actually we were reporting on 2 months ago, and I believe we had a vacation during that time. One of our mechanics was out.
So in general, we have a capacity.
In general, we're always treading water in that department.
Thank you, Dave. Third question was about the Open Plus ones. All right, no, we'll talk about this, but I was just wondering about the time frame for the pilot project, how long the pilot project goes on, and what kind of measurements that we would be looking at to see if it was a successful pilot.
I'll have Mike answer that question.
The Open Plus pilot is going to be a 12-month pilot. We'll be looking at attendance and door counts, surveys, staff feedback, and any problems that may occur. All will be factored into whether we declare a successor or stop with it. Just as an aside, we are nearing the phases of staff testing. Next week, the badging system will be completed. And then we'll be scheduling the actual installation of the hardware to automate the door machination of the show. And then we'll be working with staff on training, and then we'll be setting a date from there. So it's coming soon.
So coming soon.
Yes, we don't have a set date yet.
Okay.
We want to make sure it's fully tested and staff are fully trained on how it works before we do any premature openings.
Thank you.
Any questions? Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said my turn. Okay, sorry.
My fourth question was about the West Wind property and installing security cameras. And my understanding when we talked about this, that the county was paying for the lease in the building. Are we paying for the security cameras or is the county?
That would be us installing that security system.
And did we ask the county to pay for them or?
No, that was, I was directed to do that, and we did.
I do know that the county is actually talking to the courts to be reimbursed for some of their records, because the location stores court records as well. And one of the questions that we have been asked and we have to put some thought into is asking the courts to reimburse us for the moving expenses, because the library paid for the moving expenses to West Wind. So that is something that we are going to be discussing. So the county is going to ask the court to pay for part of the lease because it contains records that belong to the court.
But neither the court or the county are going to pay for the security camera, but we are going to do that.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Lots of publicity this week. Budget and finance report.
Hello. So what you have before you is the third quarter finance report. It is through March 31st, 2023. And start with revenues. Actual revenues through the March 31st are $23.8 million. That's 58% of the budgeted revenue. When we look at our financials, we normally look at where are we in during the fiscal year. And March marks the 9 months, or 75% of the fiscal year. And we've received 58% of our revenues. This is our normal revenue cycle for the library. This second property tax payment was due on April 10th, and the April monthly reports will show that payment. Sales tax receipts are received 2 months behind, so therefore these are just to illustrate our normal revenue cycle. In terms of property taxes, we've received through March $14.2 million, or almost $14.3 million, 56% of the adjusted property tax and general fund revenue for the year. In April, receipts have come in and been booked for over $10 million. So we're well on our way to meeting our target. Other general fund revenue include intergovernmental revenues. Actuals are at $126,000, and we're still expecting to meet our target. This is where we book some grants and our public education government access funds that we have a partnership with the city of Santa Rosa. The property tax and general fund is expected to meet our approved targets, and our estimated revenue for the year is $25.3 million. Sales tax revenues are at $9.5 million, or 61% of the sales tax revenue target. Of the total, $9.3 million represents 7 months of sales tax receipts. And just, I took a quick look back at our March receipts last year, and this year we're at 5% greater than where we were in March last year. And total at this time of the year last year in fiscal year 22, we're at 4% more. So that's all good news. So we do expect to meet our approved targets. In terms of expenditures, salaries and benefits, actual expenditures are at $18.2 million, which is approximately 65% of the total budgeted expenditures. I'd like to remind the commission that we made an upfront one-time payment to CalPERS for our accrued unfunded accrued liability of $1.4 million. So there is normal attrition and vacancies that generate savings. Extra help has historically been used only under public services, but other divisions have been using temporary extra help to cover some temporary vacancies and to work on special projects. So actual expenditures are for extra help are offset by the savings in normal permanent vacancies. I'd like to note that the vision, dental, and life benefits are pending allocation according to our allocation of major revenue sources policy. Historically, these costs had been charged under the Human Resources Division, 100% to property tax. And the current year is the first time that we are allocating benefits, including this across all divisions. So that will be done prior to year-end adjustment. So total expenditures through June are estimated to be within the total salaries and benefits approved budget. Services and supplies actual expenditures are at $8.1 million, or 58% of our budgeted expenditures. I do expect a significant savings under services and supplies by June 30th. There were some accounts that were of special interest to the Finance Committee, and these include rents and leases for building and equipment. Descriptions are provided in the report. Utilities for electric the Finance Committee has noted that these bills have been coming in at over $50,000 a month. The library is working with PG&E to implement cost savings solutions. So we're hoping to do that, and we are hoping to make the library more sustainable on that front. Training services are charges for professional training, such as legal compliance for supervisors and managers, our diversity, equity, and inclusion training for all our staff during staff day, and some conferences. Consulting services, these services are professional services, such as our class and comp study, our bilingual assessments, and budget and communication support. Like, for example, for our budget workshop, and then other contract services. These are charges for services such as copier contracts, cloud services, English as second language, our jail inmate services, and the list goes on in terms of contracts. The other is special department expense. It is kind of sounds like a catch-all, but the way the library utilizes this account is to book the costs of programming for the most part that public services does at all the branches, and the supplies that are used for those teaching classes and for performances. Other services is a very minor account. There are no charges through March 31st, but in prior years, for example, the renewal of a survey platform subscription was charged there for about $1,000. Under capital, the library's total capital expenditures are at $671,000, or 9.3% of the capital budget. As you already know, this is driven, the underspending here is driven by the delays in Petaluma and Healdsburg, but there will still be some savings in this area. And for about $1.3 million was estimated to be spent this year. Under our cash balances, they are reflecting normal cash flow cycles. And the fund balance with the adjusted revenues are now at estimated to be at property tax at 8.7 million, sales tax at 8.2 million. And just for some updates, as you know, the commission held its proposed FY 23-24 budget workshop on April 4th. Today, later on in the agenda, we will be discussing the open questions that were presented at the end of the budget workshop. On April 24th, I met with the Measure Y Oversight Committee, as I did last year, to review with them the proposed budget and the third quarter reports. Also, in much detail, some of the financial reports that they had questions about. And that concludes my third quarter report.
Thanks very much. Does anybody who was not on the finance committee have a question? Any other questions? Any public comment? Thank you so much, Mira. This is really, we're so different from previous years. We're very pleased to see you. All right, commission and liaison reports. Does anybody have anything to add to their commission reports? Any comments? All comments? Okay. Committee and liaison reports. Does anybody have anything to add to their reports? I don't see any hands up. Any public comments?
There is an appointment of Michael Carney to the Measure Y Oversight Committee.
Right, that was the next thing.
Oh, got it.
All right, so then we're down to 6.2.3, the appointment of Michael Carney to the Measure Y Oversight Committee. And my understanding is we don't have to vote for this. No. So this is just a presentation. So would you like to tell us about Michael Carney?
I don't really know what to say beyond what's written here.
Okay.
He's a really, really old friend of mine. He's really good financially and with attention to detail and super competent and together, and will do his responsibilities very well.
Just a meeting. Excellent. Any comments? Great. Any public comments? All right. We have, I don't believe that we have any other friends reports or lab reports, so we will move on to the consent calendar.
Oops.
We have
Item 7.1.
Sorry.
I'd like to make a motion.
Please do.
Okay, I move by resolution that the Sonoma County Library Commission reappoint Gabriel Velasquez to an advisory position, a student advisory position on Sonoma Valley Advisory Board for a term ending June 30, 2024, one-year term.
I'll second that.
Any other comments? Okay. Commissioner Cahill,
Yes.
Commissioner Heatheridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilbur,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Hauser,
Yes.
Commissioner Lago,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Yes.
And I will make it unanimous. Thank him for us. All right, now we're going to go down to the consent calendar. These matters include routine financial and administrative actions that may be approved by consensus. Any commission member or member of the public may request that an item be removed from the calendar and have it placed with the action item. The commission will approve the minutes of these prior meetings in summary format.
I'll move approval of the consent calendar.
All right. Mr. Cahill,
Yes.
Public comment
is there a public comment?
or ask for public comment.
Is there a public comment? I didn't see any comments from the commission. And no public comments, so Commissioner Cahill,
Yes.
Commissioner Heatheridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Goldberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Hauser,
Yes.
Commissioner Lagos, Commissioner McKenzie.
Yes.
Unanimous. We will, comments? Public comments, all right. We will then move down to action items by motion.
I have Division Manager Sarah Ventris present this item.
Good evening, Commission. I'm Sarah Ventris, Public Services Division Manager, and tonight I'm presenting for your approval a revision of the library's policies that work together to help keep the library a safe place for users and staff. So I will walk through the goals of our revision. I'll talk about our review process and how the library's guiding documents have advised these policy decisions. And I'll touch on a few next steps for implementation. I'd just like to start by mentioning that these policies have not had a major revision for some time, and so we're recommending changes in format as well as content. I know that makes it hard to review side by side, and I just want to say I appreciate your diligence at looking at those together. Thank you. But to orient you, I just want to point out the new policies that we're presenting to you here replace the past policies. We'll retire the standards of behavior policy and the unattended children policy because that content is now incorporated into the new policies, safe library use and the companion policy for safety issues and recommended suspension links. As you can probably tell from looking closely, the revision's primary goal has been to shift the focus to safety rather than on behavior. So you see that in the name change and throughout the documents. And that's one reason that we incorporated the unattended children policy, because the purpose of that is also about safety in the library. And we've added the section that covers safety of vulnerable adults. These are policies that we use daily at Sonoma County Library. So another goal of the revision is to make them very transparent and predictable for library users, as well as simple for our staff to apply in a consistent way. So you'll see that by the addition of definitions, details, the recommended outcomes for unsafe activities. We also wanted to take a close look at how to apply some of our key Sonoma County Library documents, looking at the statement of inclusivity, the racial equity lens. For example, the new policy makes it clear that the library does not tolerate harassing behavior directed at users or staff because the library is an inclusive community hub. We're also staying away from the language of library staff policing and library users obeying. Instead, we're focusing on the impacts and the outcomes of unsafe activities. And finally, we're also incorporating a key concept of the reimagining plan. We're showing support of community resiliency by applying a trauma-informed perspective to this policy. So this was a lot to accomplish, and I'd like to acknowledge the task force that did the work. That includes my fellow division manager, Barbara Mays, as well as our youth services administrator and former interim division manager, Kathy DeWeese, and 3 of our branch managers, Jessica Romero, Central Santa Rosa, Mel McCallum, Guerneville, Forestville, and Occidental, and Diana Spalding at Petaluma. Our task force has worked for 4 months to prepare the recommendations you see tonight. In addition to our own expertise, we reviewed policies and procedures from many libraries across the US, as well as current best practices. Our draft concepts were reviewed and refined with input from our entire operations management team, public services management team, racial equity team, and safety team. The final draft was then closely reviewed by the library director and our legal counsel to ensure overall compliance with the law as well as with the library's mission and vision. You'll notice too that we are recommending an effective date of May 22nd. Because this is an important revision, our task force is also preparing new internal procedures, training materials, and associated documents that will allow us to implement the policy well. That work is in progress, and pending your approval tonight, we'll be making those resources available to staff to prepare for that May 22nd date. So I'll thank you for your time and answer questions, and I think my colleague will join me as well if we can explain anything to you.
Questions?
Thank you. It's a lot of work and a lot of compiling. It was a little hard to compare new to old, so I just had a couple of questions. On page 58, under definitions, library premises are the buildings, the facilities, and surrounding property. What does that mean exactly? Are we gonna get out into the neighboring?
By surrounding property, we mean the property of the library that isn't the physical building itself. So that might include, for example, at Rohnert Park Cotati Regional Library, the entrance to the library outside the building.
I just wonder if that should be a little clearer than that, but maybe it's not an important topic. On page 63, there's a reference under making louder unreasonable noises. That's kind of a very, it's more kind of basic than the old policy. Is that the only reference there is to people talking loudly or kids playing games or any of that kind of stuff? Is that the only reference, making loud or unreasonable noise or other disturbance?
Yes, we don't expect the library to be silent, but we do care about behavior that's impacting other people's library use or interfering with the work of staff.
This is a kind of a loosening of the noise factor, is it not?
We have not expected the library to be silent for some time, and we hope to describe this here in a way that explains a bit more of what the impact of the loud noise would be and why it would be a concern that we would want to address.
I have a comment. I think it's amazing. A lot of work and thank you. I mean, it's never going to be perfect, but we keep trying.
We also appreciate that you factored in the reimagining plan. It's very clear that you're thinking about that and equity, diversity, and inclusion. And so for a policy that's been around for a long time, it must have been a lot of work, and we appreciate it.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, great. Any public comment? All right. Commissioner Cahill.
Yes.
Commissioner Heavenridge.
Yes.
Commissioner Goldberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Hauser.
Yes.
Commissioner Lago.
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Yes.
And I'll make it unanimous.
Thank you.
10.2, computer and mobile device use policy.
Hello again. So in this case, I'm bringing forth a first ever policy for staff computer and mobile use device policy. We've only had in the past a public computer use policy, internet use policy, as well as an email use policy. Over the past year, we've been subjected to an increase in cybersecurity threats, spammers, malicious actors trying to get access to our network. We've also had a drastic increase in PRA requests, and it became very clear that we needed to make this policy to provide guidelines, safety measures, and also education for staff and people involved in library work, what their responsibilities with computer systems were. And it goes with what I was saying earlier about we live in a digital age, and with technology we do, that's how we do so much of our work. So with this policy, it's really about safeguarding the network. As I say, it's providing the proper use, and it's also understanding so that they sorry, I'm a little tired this evening, guys. Proper use of how to use the computer systems. I will note that it's been thoroughly vetted and co-written with legal counsel, and it also has the full support of the Labor Management Committee, the LMC. In fact, I went to go present it to him, and Nancy Chimino put her hand up and said, "No, you have our full support." So it was very gratifying. It's also very important. And the scope not only covers computer systems, but it's all about, there is no expectation for privacy when doing work with a public agency. And this document helps make sure that people understand that anything that we do can be called into a Public Records Act, which we've seen, again, a drastic increase of. Moreover, we have it's making sure that people understand that the library has the right and responsibility to review and determine whether or not what software can be installed on our computer systems. And again, that's part about being safe with our network and resources so that we can properly vet it. It does allow for an amount of personal use on breaks, lunch, etc. We're always on the internet anymore, and it acknowledges that, and some personal use of the equipment for internet use is allowable. With that, once this policy is ratified, there will be an acknowledgement that staff will sign off on, because this policy will have some disciplinary actions enabled with it if it's not followed. With that, are there any questions about it? Dave?
Yeah, I'd like to echo what Tom said about the safe use policies. It's extremely well done. I thought you covered a lot of territory. I was especially impressed with the emphasis on the Public Records Act implications. Very well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? We, the commission, had to sign something, I believe, earlier this year or at the beginning of the fiscal year, something like that, about acknowledging that that the computers are, the computers that we're using are part of the system. I assume that we will have to sign something
similar, yes, and it's really part of it. It's also the encouragement to use library-owned equipment with an acknowledgement that there are some cases where people will choose to use their own personal devices. And it's really for any library staff, volunteer, commissioner, anybody that's doing work for the library in whatever fashion. I did turn it off earlier. I was doing updates.
Any other questions?
Just to comment that this was really helpful for me, and it reminds me to do, I have been anyway, to do all my libraries and stuff. This computer, with this email address, because I don't want my personal computer to fall under the Public Records
Wonderful, I'm glad that it was
Yeah,
helpful.
so good reminder for me, and it was also a first overview on how to use it. You're welcome.
Since this is a new policy, one question I have is, what was the surprise to you? What was the hardest piece of this to write?
It's been long gestating for a couple of years now. Probably the PRA was the biggest change that has come to the forefront in recent time. I've always been concerned about that we need to safeguard our computer systems, but it's really that the codes and the legal aspects of the PRA that was really brought forth by legal counsel, that it needs to be acknowledged as part of a public agency. That was the biggest thing for me.
Thanks very much. Yeah. You're not, okay, go for it.
No, just to follow up, and to follow up Commissioner Green's point, so if you have a library, so we have our library phone, we have a library laptop, and we only use it for library stuff. If it comes into a public records request and somebody from the public, I mean, how do you know that Commissioner Green didn't use her personal device? I mean, you know, how? No, I mean, you know, like all of us are subject to that, right? Like we all have our personal stuff. I mean, when it comes to a public records request, how does that happen? Is it just based on our verification that we've never used it?
Yeah, we've been working with legal counsel recently on that very issue. You know, with library provided devices, it's easy to say, have you used it? Can we see it if necessary? But with the personal devices, it's still kind of evolving. And he said that we ask you, and it's to an extent honor system, have you or have you not used your personal device for that? If you have, please provide screenshots or records for what those communications were.
And I have some evidence that you have used your personal email or your personal computer, then it is likely that they will take your proof for it.
Right.
I mean, I think the policy spells out that legally, we do have the right to request your personal device, but our legal counsel, when we've done this previously, you know, our legal counsel advised that, you know, we can simply ask you to provide it for us.
Any other questions?
But what I'm saying is just because we can doesn't mean we will.
Right.
Oh, more than everybody who is in charge of things in the universe knew that.
Actually, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about lawyers and depositions, and discovery, and
that's what I was
grilling everybody, that kind of stuff. That's the concern.
Yes.
That's why you should use your library devices. I also do want to mention that we do have a records retention schedule that we're revising as part. We were hoping to bring them both at the same time, but it needs more work. So we will be bringing a records retention schedule to you at some point in the future.
Do I have a move to approve this policy?
Second.
Okay.
Thank you.
The comments, public comment. Commissioner Payne.
Yes.
Commissioner Heavenridge.
Yes.
Commissioner Goldberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Hauser.
Yes.
Commissioner Lovett.
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Yes.
I'll make it unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Our next item is 11.1, well, it was 11.1, it's now, responses to open questions from April 4th, 2023 budget
What
workshop.
about 10.3?
We have 10.3.
Dalton, time, Dr. Texas.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I must have printed out a earlier. Sorry.
They had a change.
There we go. A wonderful firm.
Hello, Dave Tasheva, Facilities Manager. And I put on this month's agenda for you guys to move that the Library Commission grant our director approval to sign off on this extension of the Nolan Tam contract for the Petaluma refresh project. Basically, what has happened there is the scope has changed since the addition of state library funds being added to the project. Nolan-Tam had previously completed their work, and now with these new funds, they need to do more work. So we've added a lighting component and several other items to their scope, and so these costs would cover that.
Do we have a motion?
I'll move approval.
Second.
Sarah, will you second? All right, any comments?
Kind of a comment. When we took Senator Dodd around today, and he was really in awe of the outside of the stacks of books and, you know, all the complexity of the outside features. And he said, "Where did you get this idea?" And he said, "Nolan-Tam." They were the architects. So I think they have a great reputation. They've done a lot, you know, a lot about them. So anyway, just had to throw that in since it was current information.
All right, Commissioner Cahill.
Yes.
Commissioner Havenbridge.
Yes.
Commissioner Goldberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Hauser.
Yes.
Commissioner Lagos.
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie. Yes. I'll make it unanimous. Chris will be happy. Now, the responses to open questions from the budget workshop. You're up. Since you put the response together, are there questions from me? Do you want to summarize, or are there burning questions from you? Do you want to summarize, Myrna? We don't want to take up more time than we have to, but.
Does anybody have any questions?
Does anybody have any questions?
Barbara?
All right. Page 100, under the planning scope for the major projects. We're still allocating funds for Central and the Annex in Lincoln Valley, and I kind of had this ongoing question about our priority list of, or, you know, the capital projects, and this tells us that in the coming year, the top two projects going forward are both going to be in Santa Rosa, and so I don't know where this fits into tonight's discussion, but I still have a question about that before we approve the budget.
Well, on page 105 of your packet, we have the 88 transition plan, and it has listed the priority, the recommended priority order of the branch ADA improvements. Rincon Valley is second. Rincon Valley has not had any significant remodel since it opened in 1996. That was one of the reasons for including it in this next. So it's actually Petaluma and Healdsburg that are the big projects for next year. Rincon Valley is a 2-year project, and next year's the first of 2 years. And then the Central Library, if you notice on here, it's listed as 4 along with Windsor, phase 4. So both Windsor and Central Library were recommended by Group 4 to be relocated or rebuilt, which is why they were put in that category. It isn't because they don't need improvements. It's because when the facilities master plan was completed, the expectation was that we would build new libraries for those communities. So we wouldn't want to put significant amounts of funding into those buildings when we know that we want to renovate. The city of Santa Rosa has subsequently changed their outlook on Central Library. Originally, they were talking about moving the library or, taking over that space and changing that mall area. But subsequent talks with them have said that they are thinking that that is a long-term 20-25 years out, and the Central Library cannot last that long, that we need improvements made to that building before that.
So the priority list of who's getting done when, is it kind of obvious by reading this, or what about the other cities that aren't mentioned in here? I mean, it's kind of a different topic, but Not exactly. I mean, my concern is that, you know, currently there's 4 libraries in Santa Rosa and 3 of them are getting, you know, most attention from,
Central has never been remodeled. Lincoln Valley has never been remodeled. Healdsburg has never been remodeled. And then with the other 4th library, Windsor, has never been remodeled. All the other libraries have had various renovations since they were originally built. And that's why, you know, we're proposing these.
Brett Park's never been remodeled.
But Brett Park's also the newest library.
Well, I just want to remind it, you know, just keep in that mindset that it's a joint powers agreement, all equal partners, all cities are equal partners of the county. And, you know, to, you know, spread it around. And again, since we don't have a priority list as such that came out of the facilities master plan, I hope we can have one so we know who's in order.
We're probably gonna have that conversation about the budget, but since we were talking about the responses to given questions, we're just in the line.
Yeah, I like what was presented to us on page 99. These are all neutral and professionally understandable criteria for deciding which goes first, what is needed, and so on. This is what I want to see. I want to see recommendations by professionals about what needs to be done. I don't think the commission should try to put their thumbs on the scales. And so I like what's happening, and I like it.
I only put my little pinky finger.
Yeah.
We really appreciate the time that you took to answer all these questions, because they're, you know, you really dove deeply into real answers to questions that, you know, could have taken, we could have postponed them, we could have said we're going to talk about that after the budget is passed. But we really appreciate that you were very sensitive to all of these.
Also, in addition to this, the Finance Committee requested that at its May meeting, it asked the library to present the fiscal year 24 goals that are aligned with the reimagining plan. So there will be further discussion on the goals that were presented at the budget workshop in your packet, and they will be further discussed in greater detail as and so there's also the monthly reports that are presented to the Finance Committee and this commission in terms of detail, account by account. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, then we are down to number 14, which is agenda item for future commission meetings. We are working on the list of things that have been mentioned in previous commission meetings so that we make sure that we address those. I'm not seeing people's hands go up, so any public comment about the things that need to be talked about? Okay.
Move the adjourn. Move the adjourn.
Well, hang on.
No?
Hang on, almost.
Almost there.
Date and time of next meeting. Budget adoption and regular meeting, which is a really important one.
Yes.
Wednesday, June 7th. And with that, we are down to what?
TBD. Location to be determined. You're not gonna be here?
That's an error. It'll be here at this, Roner Park.
Well, we just determined it, haven't we?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
that, I
that's
don't know.
good.
To close the day.
Oh,
Clerk error.
Pig's eye.
Commissioner Cahill, would you like to?
Move the adjourn.
I would like to second that, but I would like to say that we should adjourn it in Sarah Ortiz's honor, who has been such a leader of the foundation for the last number of years. By acclamation, and we'll let her know that.
And then she's not so old, she can't learn her lesson, but that baby takes a hell of a lot of effort.
No.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Paul.
Take care, everybody. Hope to see you on the next meeting.
So when I take my computer home, is it going to work?
Some of the policies, we have like.
It's not happy right now. I'm sure it's because I touched it. It's not happy.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the best, but